All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is January 6th. We got a 4-game NBA slate on today, Saturday. Like we always do, we're going to go through each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my lean on the spread. I'll give you my lean on the total. But as always, all of my final plays is what I'm rolling with myself. If you do want to fade me, and boy, if we've been fadeable, those plays are going to be in the pinned comment. Our pinned comment plays last night. Our leans in the video were standard, right? Like, not going to kill you, not going to hurt you. Our final plays, though, I don't even have a graphic to bump up on the screen because I'm afraid that YouTube would think it'd be some gruesome horror scene. 1 in 5. Pacers plus or minus 2.5. The only thing that hits for us. A lot of blowouts in the NBA yesterday, so I guess that would be the excuse. Like, even the Hawks and Pacers same game parlay that we put together, if that game stays close, I think that we cash that one easily, and that was a plus money play. But nonetheless, really not here to make excuses. Bad night yesterday, and it didn't get any better with our ride of the day. Unfortunately here, our ride of the day coming in from an OG. Davey Navy here had Derek White over 16.5 points, and talk about being impacted by blowout here. Derek White was cruising. He had 10.7 boards, 3 assists, 2 of 6 from 3, right? Playing good basketball, but the Celtics just absolutely slaughter the Jazz, and Derek White ends up only playing I think 25 minutes or so. So tough there. But if you guys do want to be the ride of the day, go ahead and drop that hashtag in the comments with a pick. We got to get back on the win train here, so use hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Give me a banger of a pick, and I'm jumping on board with one person's pick in the comments, giving you guys a shout out in the next video, win or loss. And I'll also be posting it on my X there at EvGuyBoston. But you guys know the rules, right? Davey, you've been through it before. You've had some bangers where we celebrate it, but gotta drop the womp womp for the ride of the day. I'll own half of that womp womp too with my picks from yesterday. But we also have a new ride of the day rule that if the person wins, we'll keep riding with the picks. I'll keep an eye out for the comments, but you got to get your pick in early so, we don't just go through all the comments of the day and then all of a sudden I'm waiting out the person if they win. So drop your hashtag ride of the days and you had a chance to kind of go on a streak on the channel and get multiple shout outs. So could be a cool thing for the channel here. But guys, let's go ahead and jump into the slate here. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well, and hopefully we're praying for a positive day today. We're starting off with the Pacers hosting the Celtics. Right now, Pacers getting 5.5 points at home. Total sitting at 247.5. Now, the Celtics coming off of a back-to-back, but like I just mentioned, they beat down on the Jazz. I don't think this back-to-back is going to impact them all that much. Jalen played 26 minutes. Tatum only played 24 minutes. Kristaps played 27. Holiday played 23, and White played 26. So, not 25, but 26. So these guys really didn't play all that much last night. Pacers also coming off of a back-to-back, and they played even less as starters as they beat down on the Hawks 150-116. So you have two teams that they're on a back-to-back. Big deal. No, this is almost like fresh legs to begin with. So we're looking at this game almost in a vacuum, excluding and independent of that back-to-back last night. Last time these two teams played, the Pacers got the better of them, 122-112. But you can notice, and that was obviously a tournament game too, if I'm not mistaken, right? But you'll notice that this is a Pacers team that, high flying, scoring a bunch of points. They play the Celtics there and only score 122. The Celtics didn't really come to play offensively. The Pacers beat them on the defensive end as well. So if this game is defensive, and this is kind of where you're gonna think I'm on the fence, I will lean towards the Celtics because I do think that they are playing better basketball as of right now. Even that loss to the Thunder, like they came back in that fourth and everything like that. Whereas the Pacers, they're playing really good basketball too. I can't knock them, but maybe it's the biased Celtics fan in me. But anyways, back to the point here. If this game does go down the route that I think it's going to go, where defensive stops matter, then that's where the Celtics have their edge. But if you're on the Pacers here and getting 5.5 points, I don't think that I want to talk you off of it because it's enough said. The easiest way to make the case for the Pacers is that, well, if they just run, they'll run anybody out of the gym. I just think that defense could play a part in this game. And, if that's going to be the case, then the Celtics do have the upper hand. But at the same time, 5.5 points is a lot. So this most likely just stays as a lean. Total sitting at 247.5. I feel silly doing it, but I'm going to kind of trust my read on this game that I think there's a little bit more defense than Indiana has faced as of late between the two games against Milwaukee and then Atlanta, right? I think that there's going to be a little bit more defense from the Celtics there. Give me the under 247.5. I wouldn't be surprised if nothing from either of those picks makes its way into the final plays because, again, if I can make the argument for the other side fairly easily, then it tells me that what I'm saying, right, isn't always the go-to type of, cemented, put it in stone type of a pick. And honestly, if you guys are new to sports betting like that, try doing that. I think that that's a really good sort of way of validating your play in terms of, it's easy to say, okay, this is the way I think the game's going to go. But for me to put it into a final play, I have to make the other case for the team. And if it's easy to make the case for them to cover and whatnot, then it becomes less of a confident pick. If I'm like, oh, I can't even get there on the Indiana side of things, then it's like, okay, then Celtics all the way. This is the type of game where I can make the case for the other team too. So keep an eye on that pinned comment. We've got a couple player props that I don't mind here as well. We'll jump into Outlier, guys. Make sure to go ahead and check out Outlier. That link is going to be in the pinned comment. You'll get 7 days free. One of my favorite sports betting research tools when it comes to player props. Really, really, really cool tool. But I like the under 7.5 rebounds here for Miles Turner. Now, if we look at it on the season, he's hit the under in 53% of games, which isn't all that crazy, but he went on a nice little stretch here, right? In his last 10, though, he's only had 8 rebounds in 1 game, and that was against the Knicks. And what I like about this, his last 7 games here, he's only averaging 11 rebound chances. So this could be a good spot here. The thing that concerns me is that he hit it last time they played the Celtics. He had 10 boards. They played early in the year. He only had 5. But, I hope those Celtics can kind of be physical and own that rebounding. They have a really good rebounding team. Almost 1 through 5 in their starting lineup can rebound the ball, right? Which is pretty damn impressive. So I do think that this could be a spot in which he struggles to get boards. Another one, looking at my man Derek White. I have this filter and outlier to him playing 30-plus minutes, which hopefully he does play tonight. In his last 10 playing 30-plus minutes, he's hit in 9 of his last 10 over 19.5 rebounds, points plus rebounds. The one time he didn't, 19. He ended on the hook back in mid-December there, and he's crushed this with points a couple times as well. Now, I also considered the rebounds plus assists, but it doesn't look as great, again, if we filter to 30 minutes here. Still looks good, but he dropped one here. He's not always going to get a crazy amount of assists, which is weird because he'll either have in my opinion, I guess, either have like a rebounding night or an assist night, or he's going to go nuclear altogether, which no matter what you take, he's going to cash, right? But it's almost like he's getting a lot of rebounds or a lot of assists as of late, as he's become more of part of that scoring offense. So I stay away from the PRA. I don't hate it, but again, points plus rebounds, I don't mind here. It also kind of correlates with Miles Turner not getting that many rebounds. Celtics also a really good offensive rebound team as well. So there's some defensive rebounds that Miles Turner might not be able to grab. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game here. Again, guys, you want to use Outlier. We'll probably flash it up on the screen a couple more times. Use the link in the pinned comment. You get 7 days free. Why wouldn't you try it for 7 days, right? Kind of a no-brainer. Next up, we have Washington taking on the Knicks here. Again, both teams on back-to-backs. But guys, think about it. There were so many games yesterday. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of teams on back-to-backs, right? Washington gets smoked by Cleveland. They lose 114-90 after losing to Cleveland 140-101. So I guess there's a little bit of improvement there, but they dropped 2 against the spread as well. New York, a really nice momentum-building win against Philly, 128-92. Like, give them credit, right? They were 5.5-point dogs heading into that, and they end up winning by a bunch of points. Right? What is that? That's 28 plus 36 points, something like that. That's pretty damn impressive. So shout out to them. I do think that they carry the momentum into this. Like, this could be a letdown spot if they're playing any type of team that is competent, right? But they're playing Washington. Like, I don't see how the Knicks don't come in and keep that momentum going against a team that really shouldn't get in their way. No major injuries or no new injuries here. Mitch Robinson, the only guy out for the Knicks, and he's out for a year. Landry Shamet is questionable here, but again, I don't think it really matters to this game. Give me the Knicks here minus the points. I would be a little bit, it sounds weird, but a little bit more comfortable maybe looking at this game and buying 1.5 points or so, maybe getting this down to 7.5. Yes, you're going to be paying some juice, but for whatever reason, that 1.5 does seem fairly crucial in my opinion. But at the same time, it's like if the Knicks are going to win this game, they're probably going to kind of crush them. But using the Outlier tool here, I want to pop this up on the screen. It identifies that 7.5, you're getting pretty good odds. Like minus 7.5 here for 135 compared to other sports books. Let's take a look at what they're offering it at. Minus 150, minus 138. So decent price over on BetMGM. Kind of catches the eye a little bit. But again, I don't think it's the biggest of differences. Like if the Knicks win this game by 8 points, they probably win it by 12 points too, right? In terms of the total, 239, this is where it gets a little hairy, because if the Knicks win the game, I think that that's because they play the Knicks basketball, right? Meaning they kind of slow the pace down, play physical, grind you down, right? But the Knicks, as of late, as they've been winning games, have actually been scoring points, right? Like a decent amount of points, about half of this. So especially that Philly game, 128. So it pains me to look at the under here, because his Washington defense is so bad that the Knicks go out there and score plenty. Like, they dropped 120 on them earlier in the year, right? But does Washington have what it takes to make up their half? Probably not against this Knicks defense. So I'm going to lean towards the under 239 here as well. And then a player prop I like in this game is going to be Tyus Jones under 6.5 assists. So on the year, he's hit the under in 71% of games. Now, his minutes have been up in the air and kind of all over the place. He played 30 minutes against the Knicks back in mid-November and only had 5 assists. So well under the number here. In his last 10 or in his last 8, he's only gone over the mark once. And from a potential assist perspective, again, 7 would need to be had to cash the over here. In his last 7 games, he's only had 9.2 potential assists. So really like the ratio there. I like Tyus Jones under 6.5 assists as a player prop in this spot. All right, guys, before we get to the back half of the slate, I do want to talk to you about the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. I've talked to you about it before. I talked to you about it yesterday. This is a great tool if you are over on Prize Picks, and you can get 25% off with the code GUYBOSTON. Guys, go ahead and check it out. What it does is it compares sportsbooks lines to Prize Picks lines, so you get a percent odds chance to hit just based on the math, right? Positive EV betting is a profitable sports betting strategy long term, and they also identify differences in the market as well. But for example here, this play has a minus 137 line on Pinnacle, minus 124 on FanDuel, minus 132 over on Caesars, and over on Prize Picks here, you're getting the same line but at juiced odds, right? How about down here? You could see this play, minus 140 on MGM, minus 133 on Bet Online, minus 155 on Fliff, and yet over on Prize Picks, they don't care about odds, right? So why aren't you putting juiced plays into your Prize Pick slips, the ones that sportsbooks thinks are the likely outcome? Use that math against them. Use it over on Prize Picks, guys. Again, use the link in the pinned comment and make sure you use the code GUYBOSTON, GUYBOSTON, spelling bee champ. You got to use that code. You get 25% off. Go ahead and check it out. Definitely worth a try. Even if you want to test it for a month, get 25% off. I highly recommend it. Go try it out. This thing will pay for itself in no time. But let's go ahead and get to the back half of the slate here. All right, next up, we got Philadelphia taking on Utah. Now, this spread is massive, and it makes sense why. I don't think I can get myself there to really love the Sixers minus 12.5, but I like them to win this game convincingly. Utah coming off that loss to Boston, the Sixers coming off of getting smacked in the face by the Knicks. So it's like, okay, I get why you'd think that the Sixers would bounce back in a big way, and I do think that they win this game, but my lean is going to be Utah plus the points. I'm not making that a final play because we've seen what Utah does on the road this season, right? It's pretty horrific. But I keep saying the Phillies, the Sixers, I don't think that they're playing like Sixer basketball right now. Their last 3 games have not looked all that great. They even almost dropped the game against the Rockets that they played 4 games ago. So, New York they lose to. Chicago they look good against, but let's not forget they didn't score. They killed our team total, right? They didn't score in the last 8 minutes of the game, and they lost to Chicago a couple nights before that, 105-92. So it's like this Sixers team, I do think that they'll get better and better. I mean, Embiid obviously just came back a week and a half ago or so. Like, I get why they may be struggling, but 12.5 points just seems like a little bit too much for me. I think they win this game, but I could see them winning this game by like 11, right? And it's like, yeah, we beat them by 11, but not 12.5. So by default, I'm looking at Utah plus the points. Again, I don't want you guys racing to the sports book to take Utah based on me saying that. I'm trying to let you know that this is just I can't get myself there with Philly, but I really don't think that I'm going to be putting my hard-earned bread on Utah, right? So that makes it a little bit tough. Now, in terms of a total, I think the Sixers put up a decent amount of points today. Do the Jazz come to play? I think they may as well, just because of what happened against Boston, right? They're like, that was pitiful. Can we go and score some points today, right? So maybe they do come and, put up at least 110, and I think that we could be looking at a good chance at this hitting the over. So slightly towards the over as well. With that kind of in mind, I really also don't mind Colin Sexton over 16.5 points today. Are the Sixers a good defensive team? Yes, but DeAnthony Melton has been out for a while, and he's questionable today. That is one of of, if not their best perimeter defender, right? So if he's out, I like this even more because Sexton is the shifty guy on Utah that's going to get to the hoop, plenty, okay? So I think that this could be a decent spot for him. But like I said, this is a good Philadelphia defensive team, not in particular against point guards or shooting guards, which Sexton obviously going to bring the ball up, but more listed as the shooting guard in this sense. But I don't necessarily see that being a problem for him. I think that he's shifty enough that if they don't have the perimeter defense, I don't see Embiid like really stressing about coming over backside to block him. I think that they're going to try and go about it different ways. So giving him over in points. And then speaking of Embiid, I think that Embiid, his line is set at 33.5 points. It is a high number. He hasn't hit that in 3 games, but if I think that this could be sort of a get right spot for Philly, Embiid's going to follow suit, right? So give me them. It is a back-to-back spot. So though he's not listed on the injury report right now, it is Joel Embiid. He played 36 minutes last night. They're going up against a Utah team that stinks on the road. Maybe it's a sit spot for Embiid. So again, something that I'm not racing to go place only to hear that Embiid's actually out with an illness, later on in the afternoon. All right, next up and last but not least, we got the Rockets taking on the Bucks, and I'll tell you what, I really like the Bucks in this spot. They do have the rest advantage coming off of that win in which they almost lost against San Antonio a couple of nights back. Houston on a back-to-back, they just got smoked by Minnesota again. Kind of could see, like, I was on the fence with that game yesterday. Kind of wish we took Minnesota, but also I liked Houston at home, so glad we didn't really touch it because there's a high chance that we make the wrong pick in that game and make our day yesterday even worse. But again, Milwaukee's going to be my play here because this should be a get-right spot for them. They match up really well against this Houston team, so it doesn't really deter me from Milwaukee, even though their basketball, basketball they've been playing hasn't been that great. 2 straight losses to, actually we can even go before that, right? When they played Cleveland, they didn't even look all that great. They ended up winning by 8 and covering, so fine. On paper, it looks good, but that wasn't even the best of games, right? Then Indiana, they lose to. And then it's like, okay, well, they'll bounce back and play Indiana again, right, and win. Lose to Indiana by 12, and then they almost lose the game against the Spurs, just their last game 2 nights ago. So it's like this Milwaukee team has not been playing well. But Houston, the type of defense they play and the way that they play, I think this could be a totally good get-right matchup spot for the Bucks to kind of win convincingly in this spot. Now, 6 points, I hear you if you're on the Rocket side being like, yeah, but 6 points, 6.5 on some books, I like that, right? There's a reason why this thing is moving up to 6.5 from 6, right? Opening up at, I believe, 6 or 5.5. It's now up to 6.5. The books don't like selling these -6 tickets to the Bucks, and in a spot in which the Bucks kind of need a convincing win over a half-decent team, which the Rockets at home are good. So, like, I like this bounce-back spot for him. In terms of what we're looking at on the injury report here, Eason's out questionable for the Rockets. Dylan Brooks still out, which, as much as, I don't really like the player, that could be a huge defensive piece in this game. A physical player that can cover multiple positions. They don't have that. Like, this is a Bucks team that is ready to put up some points. When healthy, this is a really good team. So I'll go ahead and lean towards the Bucks. In terms of the total, it's sitting at 236, right? 238.5 right now. If the Bucks control this game should go over. That's what I'll say. But if this all of a sudden, Houston is staying in it and all that, which they're at home, they're a good team at home and good defensively, then I get it, like, why this could go under. But again, I'm going to trust the game script that I'm predicting here and roll with the over because I think the Bucks will push the pace and hopefully put in like near 130 themselves in a convincing fashion here. So give me the over in this spot. In terms of player props, what we're looking at here, nothing jumps off the page to me. I think Giannis will have a good game, but are we really going to look at those lines for him? Like, no, his points line is crazy high. We took his under last time out, and he dropped 44 on us. Like, this is a good defensive Rockets team, but power forward I don't necessarily think is the position that they cover all so well. And then in terms of the side for the Rockets here, like, they do obviously have plenty of guys that are viable for their overs. Like you think about Green, right? It's like, but there's a lot of inconsistency there. You look at his 3-pointers made, I don't mind over 2.5. That's a guy that, the Bucks perimeter defense hasn't been all that great, but if he gets the Beasley or Middleton coverage, then it's like, well, then all of a sudden I think it's a little bit harder than if Damian Lillard is switching on to him, right? But I don't mind his overs. Jalen Green would probably be the guy I look at on the Rockets. Sengun keeps kind of proving me wrong from a points perspective, but Giannis and Brook Lopez seems like it could be a pretty hard matchup for him, so I'd also look at him, but from the under perspective. Keep an eye on the pinned comment. Again, nothing jumps off the page at me here. We had to dig for, I guess you could say, you know, the Green and Sengi picks. But guys, keep an eye on the pinned comment for all of the final plays. And the last thing I'll say is, like, our leans have been great this year, and I'm not being bashful. Like, they've been great. If you go back and listen and watch videos, you're like, oh wow, right. There's something going on in this dumb brain where I'm just not picking or feeling confident about the right plays. So the ones I put in the final plays just have not been that great. We're still positive on the year, but we are treading water. We have these crazy good streaks where we're hot, right? And make up all these units. And then we have these, like this past week, right? We've had, I think, 1 positive day or 2 positive days in the month of January. We have this where it comes back down to, you know, water level. So it's like, yes, it's still profitable and positive, but our percentage is only like 52% this year. So if it had not been for some plus money hits that we've hit, who knows where we'd be, right? So, yeah, but whatever. We're still starting up. We're still having a good time doing this, and I still think we have a lot of value to provide in videos, right? But nonetheless, guys, close up shop for today. Happy Saturday to everyone. Actually, last thing I wanted to mention, on our community page on the channel, so just go to our channel, tab at the top, go to community. We have a poll going. I want to get back into the live streams. I'm going to do it multiple times a week, but we want one sort of dedicated night that I do a live stream. So I think it's Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday I have as options right now. So make sure to go vote on that and let me know what you guys want. So like at the bare minimum, we have one night that we know there's a stream. We can build prize pick slips. We can do some arbitrage betting with odds gambling. Gonna be really, really cool. So go ahead and check that out. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for you for today. Hopefully we have a positive day, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.